Wowza! The WBC enter Francis Ngannou in the WBC top 10 rankings after his controversial defeat to Tyson Fury. What do I think about this? Look, Ngannou shocked many the night he shared the ring with the Gypsy King that night. For many onlookers, this was meant to be a walk in the park for Tyson Fury. A quick payday, payday, payday. But Ngannou pulled the bull by the horns and had something else to say. He went toe to toe, arguably, with the best heavyweight in the division currently, the WBC Heavyweight champion, and made it extremely, extremely competitive. He even went to the extent of putting the Gypsy King on his arse, and was arguably robbed of a victory that night. Some would probably say and would argue that Francis Ngannou should be the new WBC heavyweight champion of the world. Is this ranking fair and justified? I am going to have a look at the reasons for and against this decision. Do I agree with it? It doesn't matter what I agree with or how I think or feel on the situation. Who am I to say whether he deserves it or not? I'm not a fighter, but I think for many boxers, especially boxers that are ranked by the WBC and potentially boxers that are ranked below the top 15, I can imagine they're feeling quite aggrieved, quite outraged by the decision they've made on this. Yes, he took Tyson Fury the distance. Yes, he arguably won. But for other contenders that have fought their fights, had their long careers, to get ranked in the position they are, I can imagine that they probably feel more deserving. I would probably feel quite tilted. This man's just waltzed his way into boxing and suddenly he's picked up a prestigious ranking. For them, they've gone throughout their careers, put on those fights, proved to everybody that they're the top of the tree. All of a sudden, a guy that's just had one bout ends up in the top 10 rankings. He lost officially on paper. The fight wasn't meant to have any significance. It wasn't meant to land him a ranking. It was looking like it was going to be an exhibition at first. So yeah, I can feel why some boxers might feel a little bit frustrated. They probably feel like it's unfair, and they also probably feel quite disrespected. You know, they've gone through their long, hard careers. They've gone through the amateur circuit. They fought their fights, and yeah, this guy's just wriggled his way in. I don't know. For them, I can imagine it's probably quite a tough pill for them to swallow. So I'm going to show you a little snippet. Rob Tebbert actually uploaded this on his Twitter. It will just showcase the top 10 from I believe it was the WBC convention. Don't quote me on this. But the fighters ranked below Francis Ngannou are as follows. Filip Pergovic is ranked number 11th. Joe Joyce is number 12th. Ajit Kabayel has a spot at number 13. Daniel Dubois is in at 14th. And last but not least, number 15th is Abakudir Jalalov. All these fighters have had stern tests. They've had over 10 fights. And to be ranked below a guy with one bout is a massive, massive fish slap in the face. I'm not taking anything away from Francis Ngannou's performance. I'm just telling you how I probably think that the other contenders probably see this. Ngannou, to me, brung it and showed to everybody that he belongs with the big boys in the boxing ring. But in my personal opinion, the Tyson Fury we saw that night, I think would have been beat comprehensively by all the other fighters ranked below Francis Ngannou currently, with the exception of Ajit Kabayel. To be honest, I'm not really sure why Ajit Kabayel was ranked at number 13th, but it is what it is. Anyway, I think a lot of the contenders, a lot of the boxing fans, a lot of, just a general audience would understand his ranking a little bit more. For instance, if he took on, say, a top 20 guy, I think the audience, the contenders, would most definitely respect that. He would have then arguably beat the best heavyweight in the world, and then a good solid heavyweight. He would then prove that it wasn't a fluke and that he's the real deal. Of course, we already know that he is the real deal, but again, dragging it back to the whole boxing audience, his competitors, it would give him then the opportunity to then cement that. Look, I've got this top 10 ranking. I've beaten somebody else that, in the eyes of many, is good. I deserve to be here. But yeah, you know the hardcore audience, bruv. They're sticklers for this sort of stuff. But then again, he did arguably beat the best heavyweight in the world, the WBC Heavyweight champion. In theory, he should have the WBC belt strapped to his waist and be number one. He should, in theory, deserve that top 10 ranking. No other boxer, apart from Wilder and, you know, a few fighters 10 years ago, have come close to beating Tyson Fury. It's a hard one to say whether he deserves it or not, but I'm just basing it on a legitimacy and comparing it to his competitors. I also think the fact that he was a former UFC world champion. Yes, in boxing terms, it doesn't hold legitimacy, but he still was a champion in his own right, in his own discipline, in combat sports. So, you know, he's fought many men, he's fought many heavyweights. So I do think that all should be considered too. You know, he isn't just someone who's just stumbled into this game. No, he's come out the pub and he's like, "You want some?" And then he's got a ranking and somehow, some way, he's beat Tyson Fury. So I think if you do weigh that all up, and I think this is probably what the WBC Council did, you know, he does have some legitimacy. That's probably what's warranted him this ranking. I'm going to say all of this though, and it's probably going to ruffle some feathers. Please don't kill me in the comment section, mow me down with a hedge cutter, Chucky style. Please don't do that. I personally think that Francis Ngannou does deserve the top 10 WBC ranking. Yes, on paper he lost that fight against Tyson Fury, but the fact he made it so competitive and people still question the legitimacy of the loss just goes to show he's up there with the big boys. I do think, however, that he should be given a few months, maybe with that top 10 ranking, and prove himself against other top heavyweights. Cement that placement and prove to everybody that it was no fluke. I'm here to stay. To many, people thought Tyson Fury was in no shape. He wasn't the normal man that we normally see. He wasn't, you know, in tip-top condition. He wasn't on the same form. Lots of people think that Ngannou just won the lottery. Tyson Fury just didn't take him seriously. If he doesn't go and fight other top contenders, I do believe his placement should be moved lower. And I do think he should be moved around the top 20s. He just can't hog that spot and just wait on the big fights. He needs to go out and fight somebody else. Look, this is a competitive sport. It's competition. He should be fighting other competitors. I know he's waiting on that Tyson Fury rematch. He definitely deserves it. I just think this way is fair and just. I think maybe the WBC should get involved. Maybe push him into a particular fight. You could also argue that, you know, it should have been fair for him to win that boxing match against Tyson Fury. But boxing is boxing, and I know it shouldn't be that way. But it was a close fight, and for people shouting robbery, it wasn't a robbery. It could have swung either way. Personally, I thought Francis Ngannou won. Yeah, I can see why maybe a few people might think, well, Tyson Fury won some of the quiet rounds. Those sort of rounds get unnoticed. But yeah, overall, he fought a great fight against Tyson Fury. He definitely deserves the recognition, the achievement for that fight. Let's see him fight other fighters, prove all the doubters wrong, and shut up the boxing audience. This is his opportunity to say, look, I am the master of all combat sports. But anyway, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, and don't chew me up, spit me out in the comments. Bash.